In this video, we're going to be taking a look at fraction and whole number multiplication. We're going to continue to look at this skill. And first of all, the essential question that we will answer is how can you find the product of a fraction and whole number without using a model? We've looked at how to use a model. Now we're going to take a look at how you do this without using a model. Now we're going to take a look at page 299 in your Go Math book, and I want you to turn there. And let's take a look at this problem and let's unlock it. It says Charlene has 5 1-pound bags of different color sands. For an art project, she will use 3/8 pound of each bag of sand to create a colorful sand art jar. How much sand will be in Charlene's sand art jar? Now we are going to be taking a look at the model version of this type of problem, but pretty much after that, we're not going to do too much more with the model. We want to just take a look at how we do this without the model. Okay, so a couple questions that we want to figure out. First of all, how many bags of colored sand are there? Okay, now we know from this problem that there are actually 5 1-pound bags. Okay, so we're multiplying 5 times 3/8, and what we have here, all of these rectangles here actually represent the 5 1-pound bags. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to shade in 3/8 of each 1-pound bag. Now, why 3/8 of 1-pound bag? Because Charlene is going to use 3/8 pounds of each bag to create a colorful sand art jar. Okay, so what we will do, and what I want you to do right in your book, I want you to shade in 3/8 of each section. So 1, 2, 3 out of the 8 for the first pound bag. 1, 2, 3 out of the 8. 3/8. Continue to do 3/8 all across for each bag. Okay, so now what we can see is that we have 15 sections shaded in. Okay, and what we can do is we can rearrange the shaded pieces to fill as many holes as possible. Okay, so we can just shade in 15 here. There's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so we can see that this represents 1 whole and 7/8. Okay, so 1 and 7/8 for my fraction. So we can see for the answer, so there are 1 and 7/8 pounds of sand in Charlene's sand art jar. Okay, so let's turn to page 300 and we'll do this problem together. I want you to do this problem as I go through it. It says Kristen brought in 4 loaves of bread to make sandwiches for the class picnic. Her classmates used 2/3 of the bread. How many loaves of bread were used? So we have our model. Now each rectangle represents the number 4, the 4 loaves of bread. What we need to do is we need to divide each loaf of bread into thirds. Why thirds? Okay, because we want to represent 2/3 of them being used. Okay, so each loaf of bread we're going to cut into thirds just like that. It's not going to be exact, but we'll do the best we can. And I want you to do this with me as well. Okay, now what we need to do for each loaf of bread, we're going to shade in 2/3. Okay, why 2/3? Because our classmate used 2/3 of the bread. Okay, so let's use a different color ink. Use blue, 2/3 for the top loaf, 2/3, 2/3, 2/3, and 2/3. So we have a total of 8 sections shaded in. Now, if we were going to rearrange this so the shaded pieces fill as many holes as possible, once again we will divide our bread into thirds. And I want you to do this right in your book with me, so you can visualize what this looks like. Okay, so we have 8 total pieces shaded in. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so what we have here, we have 2 whole pieces and 2/3 of another piece. This one actually does not even need to be represented at all within our fraction. So this represents 2 and 2/3. Okay, so for the answer, we have 2 and 2/3 loaves of bread were used. For the next step, what you will need to do is write an expression to represent the problem. Now we need to think that we need to find 2/3 of 4 wholes. Okay, so what we will have to do is multiply 2/3 times 4. That's going to be our expression. Okay, so in order to solve a problem like this, what we will do is actually multiply that numerator times the whole number, and then just write our denominator right underneath here. So you can see 2/3, that's our fraction right here, and then 4 is the whole number. Okay, so we multiply 2 times 4, we know that's 8, and then we just slide the denominator right over for 8/3. Now we know 8/3 changed into a mixed number is actually 2 and 2/3. So you can see how to multiply 2/3 times 4 with the model, and you can also see how to multiply this without the model. Okay, so now I want you to turn to page 301 to the share and show section, and we have 3 times 2/5. Okay, so what I want you to do is work this problem with me, and we're going to go through these couple steps. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to multiply the numerator by the whole number. Okay, now the numerator is 2, so we're going to take that 2 and we're going to multiply it by our whole number, which is 3, and the denominator will slide right underneath there. Okay, so now we have 2 times 3, pretty simple here, is going to be 6, and then our denominator just slides right over, and we can just slide that right over for 6/5. Okay, so 6/5 is our answer. Now what we will do is just take that 6/5 and change that into a mixed number, and we know 5 goes into 6 one time, so that will be our whole number. We have 1 left over, which is our numerator, and the 5 stays the same, the denominator stays the same for 1 and 1/5. Okay, I want you to do numbers 5, 8, and 10 all by yourself, and when you finish these problems, I want you to press play and I will have the answers for you. So I want you to pause the video now. Okay, here are the answers for these problems. I do have the work right underneath there, so make sure that your answers match mine. If they don't, double check my work and see where you went wrong. You may even need to rewind the video. Okay, let's jump down to number 14. Okay, and this is a little bit different. Now we need to figure out the unknown digit. And what we can do is we can check and see which number would work. Okay, so let's say, we try the number 3. Okay, what we would have is 3/2 times 8, and that will need to equal 4. Okay, so we have 3 times 8, that gives us 24. Now 24/2 is actually 12. Okay, and that does not match the answer. So what we will do, we'll clear everything out. We're not going to kick and scream too much. Okay, and what we will do is we'll just try the problem over again. Okay, so let's take a look at trying the number 1. Okay, so we would have 1/2 times 8 Okay, so we have 1 times 8 is going to give me 8. Slide the 2 over. So 8/2 does equal 4. Okay, so we can see that that number, the missing number, does equal 1. Okay, so you can see it's just a try a number, check it, and then you may need to revise, or you may actually have the correct answer. Let's take a look at number 15. So this one's a little bit easier, so because we need to figure out what times 5 gives us 20. Okay, now what we can do is take 20 and divide that by 5, and we know 20 divided by 5 does give me 4, or we know that 4 times 5 does give me 20. So we plug that in, 4 times 5 equals 20, and then slide our 6 over for 20 over 6, or 3 1/3. So the missing number is actually 4. Now what I want you to do is number 13, actually number 16 all by yourself, and when you're finished with the problem you can press play and I will have the answer for you. So pause the video now. Okay, you should have plugged in 6 for the denominator. Okay, 1/6 times 18 does give me 3. You can see the process down here at the bottom, so the empty space does represent 6. Now I want you to do this problem all by yourself, and when you're finished with it you can press play and I will have the answer for you. So pause the video now. Okay, now we can see the answer for this is letter C, which is 18 pounds. And finally, going over the essential question, how can you find the product of a fraction and a whole number without using a model? You can multiply the whole number and the numerator, then write the product over the denominator and simplify if needed. So this concludes the video on fraction and whole number multiplication. If you have any questions about this concept, please come and see me.